heavily apologize for being so late by 2 minutes, which this is the first time this has happened for out of the including this one, 4 live streams that I've done. Just had some technical difficulties, but again, outside of that, how is everyone doing today? And oh, and thank you, Jerry. On thank you. I'll just give about 5 more minutes for more people to come in. But can you hear me, Jerry, on clearly? Okay, perfect. And just like the last live stream I did, um, the noise in the background is just my fan, because it's summer here in Florida. So, oop, sorry about that. Okay, but no, yes, it is summer here in Florida, so have to have that fan. But again, Jerry, thank you for coming. That's funny, actually. Um, well, I mean, like I said, usually because I know part of the reason why you said this because the interviews. But if you notice something, the interviews that I usually do through Discord are usually a lot clearer than the ones that I do um through other means. Like you can clearly, if you go back and listen, Jerry, you can clearly hear the difference of quality between them. Wow, we have 25 people watching. I think this is the most I've ever, now it's down to 18. But I think this is the most we've ever had. But again, like I said, I'm gonna give people about 2 more minutes to come in. So do. Oh, but and also just as a celebration, for those who know me, and I've talked about it, even for those who don't, I don't drink alcohol. So, by celebration, for this 100,000 subscriber achievement, I will be drinking Sprite. I will be drinking Sprite. Toaster. I should have actually gotten my apple cider sodas, the Welch's, but that's fine. I'll save that for the 200 subscriber milestone, or 1 million. Not sorry, for the 200,000 view milestone. Since this is what this is for, 200 100,000 views on YouTube. Hello, Rifted. Hello. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. Just one more minute. One more minute for everyone. Hmm. Okay, one more minute, everyone. One more minute. Okay. Perfect. So, now to officially begin. Hello, everyone, again, for coming. Thank you for coming for, the first live stream that I've done this year. The last live stream I did was the 300 subscriber milestone live stream last year. But this year, and this specific live stream is for something special. That is because for this one, we have recently achieved, after the month of July, June last month, I apologize, um, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Or sorry, 100,000 views on YouTube. I miss, I miss saying things on this live stream. I apologize, but I'm a little bit tired. But yes, 100,000 views on YouTube. And I just want to keep saying, for anyone who's watching this and listening to this, thank you. Getting 100,000 views on any platform, but especially YouTube, may not seem like a big milestone for people. But for us, and if you know the history of the Dogs Board, that is a big deal. We try not to make trending content, the very nature of what we do, concerning black history, nerd culture, film, you know, uh, the hip hop historian, which I hope he's here today. Um, my business partner, he with his former series he did concerning hip hop history and his opinions about it. Now that he's doing film, what we do and how we display things is made to educate people while entertaining them. But you know, more so, we want for things to be done in a correct way, right? That's why I take pride um, in making things as accurately as I possibly can. So, because we don't, what's the term people use? Use clickbait in videos and different reports that I do. Because, like I said, we don't talk about drama and we don't go out of our way to cover trending topics. We actually shy away from it, like I said. There are certain things that we do that others don't do that helps make their path to success a lot easier. And so I would have never thought that we would have gotten 100,000 views on any platform, but especially YouTube, due to those things. So I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. The funniest thing concerning getting to 100,000 views is it happened so unexpectedly because for those who follow us, I've started making the shorts our main form of the videos across all of our platforms that we do. You know, people know because I've made it, or I've been very vocal concerning it, that the shorts are not my preferred way of creating things. We start off writing, our articles online, specifically me with Black History. Um, and that's my preferred way of doing things. Then with the YouTube, we started making the videos for podcasts and interviews. That was the number one thing, to do the podcast and the interviews. And I know I've talked about this the last the last few live streams, but I just want people to know a Cliff Notes versions. Then from there, we made video versions of things that we've written and made other things, so on and so forth. But you know, our views are usually minimal at best. So the shorts were created as a way to basically try to beat that. Because if it wasn't for the shorts and me deciding to make them, we would still be under 100 subscribers on YouTube right now. Sorry to say. So even though I'm grateful of the success that the shorts have brought in, as I made it known before, that's not my. I don't think they portray the most accurate example of creation and education and overall just creativity that I was trying to display with that. So, but you know, it's just like many artists and many people who create and make things. The things that other people love from them or make them famous or know them from or just that people revere may not be things that they enjoy as much. You know, for the band Cameo, you know, Candy and Word Up are their two most favorite songs, but my favorite song from them is Single Life, out of their more popular songs. So that's just another example of that. But take a pause. Was there anything I said that anyone had any questions about or any comments about? Because you know these also double as pseudo Q and A's as well. Give that like a minute or two. Spray. Okay. Well, and also this too. For those who came to the Discord meeting I had a few weeks ago, or now is a little bit over 2. But you know, I also talked about, you know, this live stream as well, or I just mentioned it. I hope I did. But with that being said, the funniest thing about doing the live streams is that a lot of times a lot of people don't realize that, like for example, when I record the shorts, do the audio for the shorts, there would be times even with perfect audio and recording conditions, I will still make like 10 different recordings for one short, and I will still edit those down from time to time, even with the perfect audio. So even though for the average person, let's say a short will only take at most a few minutes, for us, or for me specifically, it can take me much longer because of how much I try to perfect it with what we're trying to do. So, so even though they're not as big as the usual videos, or the long form ones, I still try to put that same amount of effort and energy into it. So, and again, I have to keep saying, I am grateful for you all. I'm grateful for God, most importantly, but I'm grateful for you all for us to even have the ability to do what we do, to even get to this 100 milestone. So again, I can't stop saying that, how happy I am about that. So, again, I thank you all for that. Now, getting to this milestone, getting to 100,000 views has been interesting because, you know, we've gone through some of the same pains that most people have, you know, especially with, you know, the type of content we do and how we portray things. We have, let's say, more pain than the average person may, who try to do things similar to what we do. For example, right? Jerry, you know about this. Remember a few years ago, and this wasn't on a short or a video, but this was actually on Instagram, on a shorter on a short writing piece I did concerning a few years ago, DC Comics had released the first part of a graphic novel series or mini series they were doing about the perceptions of minorities, primarily black people, in the DC universe with established black characters like Black Lightning, Katana, etc. Um, and what they were doing during certain big events in the DC universe. So most of these characters, if they weren't in tie-in comics or spin-off comics during these big events, then we don't really know where they were. A lot of times they're not even mentioned in the future, even with retcons and things happening. So that was kind of a big deal for people who were interested in that, and to seeing these different characters' perspectives that aren't in the limelight. I was one of the first people online to report on it and share about it. And if you remember, Jurion, because I sent you the screenshot and everything, I think you had, actually no, I'll wait on that. But the person is a Instagram who, they talk about black comics and specifically black superhero media, but they use like repost software either from their phone or their computer, but they use their repost software to literally copy and paste what we had put, what I had uploaded on our Instagram page. And then they did that without crediting us, without crediting the dogs board for it. So this person had double digits of followers on that platform. So, and already by the time I found out about it, it had already been up for about or over 2.5 hours. That's right, 2.5 hours. The person did not credit throughout the entire time, so I had to put in their comments that we were the original creators of and everything. Then I messaged them on Instagram. I had to confront them to message them, and I hopefully, like I said, because I assumed that the creator of the page, the platform, is a black person, so I hate to have done that, but I made sure I let them know that I respect and support what they do. But I asked that they credit us, because when they reported on, if you went to their page at that time, because I don't think that page is active anymore by at least 2 or 3 years, they used to credit every single non-black reporter or platform they got the black superhero, black comic book news from. They made sure they reported it and credited them. But for us, they didn't do that. For us, I had to confront them in the private messages about that, and then afterwards, that's when they decided to credit us. They must have just forgotten, but again, this is the only one that you can go back for dozens of posts that they didn't do that for. Because I remember, Jerion, if you remember, you sent me the gif of the Soulja Boy interview where it said they stole my whole flow. Do you remember that? Yes. So, and you are right about that. You are right about that. And that's exactly what they did. So when people are surprised or asked why it may take so long for us to get to certain milestones, be it when it comes to just overall numerical success, fiscal success, quality in terms of how people perceive things, or even just overall just metrics. Things like that is what I have to deal with on a weekly basis. Um, I've had an instance, a recent, for those, like I just talked about the interviews. I haven't did another interview or uploaded one since August/September of last year. I've talked about this in the meetings, live streams before. One time I touched up on it briefly, and in the Discord meetings, which if everyone wants a more let's say, personalized experience and to be able to communicate with us a lot better and see what we do faster. Because, we don't post everything on every single platform. I recommend for people to join the Discord. But continue what I was saying. The interviews, I do those. They take a lot of time. I have to schedule things. I'll have to go out of my way to make other people to meet other people's schedules, even people who've reached out to me, which is funny, right? Um, I've gone out of my way to meet their schedule for when they're available. The biggest problems with the interviews is that, like, I've had one person had to reschedule it more than 4 times, and one of the times it was literally 5 minutes before we were supposed to record it. Um, some people, they don't push the interviews as much as they have when they were on bigger platforms. So some interviews, people, um, you know, they just aren't as enthusiastic as if it was someone, let's say, who had a more lighter skin tone to be interviewed or to be their interviewer. So there was a particular instance in Jerion. I sent you this, Jerion, but you were busy at the time, so you never responded to it if you didn't read it. But if you go back to your Discord messages, you'll see it. There was a situation where there was a woman who I was supposed to be interviewing. She's achieved a lot in her young life on this earth. She's barely older than me, and I'm 28. So she's not that much older than me, but she's already achieved so much when it came to her job, business, and education. And like I said, Jerry, you can scroll up to the messages and you'll see it. It's Facebook message that I took a screenshot of. But this young lady, she um, showed, she was well to do the interview. It took her a long time to respond to the messages with the details and everything. But, I eventually, showed her a playlist of all the interviews we do so that she can get a feel of them. Um, she messaged me back a few days later because she didn't like the name of our series, which is On the Couch with the Dogs Board. For those who don't know why it's called On the Couch with the Dogs Board, is every episode, the interviewee, the person who's being interviewed, is like the star of the show. So to me, it's like a talk show, a educational talk show about that person and what they do in their stories and what they're professionals at. Professional chefs, professional actresses, professional stuntmen, professional martial artists, professional educators, etc. So it's like a talk show, but more specifically, things like the Jennifer Hudson show, or my main influence, the Arsenio Hall show, right? They have the interviewees on sofas, couches, chairs, etc. That's what they're doing to have a more homely environment and to try to make them feel more comfortable with being on the show. That's why it's called On the Couch with the Dogs Board. It's the same thing that therapists use. So, me having that in mind, that's why I called it that. I've had no one had an issue with the title. No one that I know and who directly told me they never thought of anything perverse about the title, because that wasn't even within my mind when I made it. However, this young lady expressed to me because she said because she was rebranding herself as a Christian content creator, she didn't want to ruffle any feathers because of people may essentially take On the Couch with the Dogs Board as a perverse name. Out of the I've been doing the interview since 2017 or 18. No one has ever expressed, even people who make those types of dirty or off-color jokes, have never expressed to me that they even thought about that. So the fact that she thought about that and thought that people and other people would take offense to the name because of that is an example of the issues that we go through that we necessarily shouldn't have to go through. So I understood because there's even a minister, a reverend. Oh, hello, Robin. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by, Robin. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I have been well. How about you? How about you? How have you been doing? But yes, Jerion, that is like that. But the problem is one of the reverend ministers who we interviewed, um, he took offense to what she said. And a few people who we interviewed took offense to what the young lady said about, you know, the name. So all of that uh, just goes to show, and just to help prove my point, that the interviews have not been coming out as much as they have, partially because of things like that. So because I usually always have at least 3 or 4 circulating at a given time concerning people expressing interest or wanting to do it, but they just have to keep getting rescheduled or people don't respond during certain times. But for those who are wondering why it's been since September of last year, was the last time that was uploaded at least to YouTube, that is the reason why. Is because of things like that. So now, if this was a disc jockey Vladislav or any one of these shows that certain individuals who profit from the pain of the black community did that, they would make all types of let's say exceptions to get on their show. They would quit their jobs and businesses to get on their shows and things like that. So that's why I understand. That's why I'm okay with it being harder or it taking a longer time to reach certain milestones because of that. So, but I want to also say too, because it's kind of funny too, because if you go back to that person's particular social media, they had pictures of Cardi B on polls on their public social media. So I think that if they want to showcase themselves as a Christian content creator, that's probably something that they should take down off of their page. But I'm not judging, but that's just something that you have to. Part of believing in God, and especially by claiming something, is that you have to be consistent with what you say your morals are in your decisions and behaviors. You know, you can't wipe a slate clean. you can't wipe a slate clean while still allowing this specific smidge of dirt on it. I'm sorry. So, because this particular person is proudly listening to music that goes against, and the content of the music that goes against what they say they believe in. So that's why when people tell me, well, you think you're better than other, no, it's not that. It's just that I just don't believe in the concept of and this is why part of the reason why I created the dogs board. I don't believe in the concept of complaining about issues that our people, which I believe that we face, but then I actively contribute to it by supporting things that puts out false and dark messages that that other entities are creating in the first place. People don't really understand that a lot of quote unquote black things that we do, that we believe in, a lot of traditions that black Americans in particular do, are not really created by us. They're created by other individuals from outside of the black community who profit from those things. But that's a completely different topic, and that will make this live stream 5 hours long. So let me stop there. But is there any questions? Anyone have any comments on anything I said so far? Sprite. Yes, Robin. Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You know, different slangs and ebonics. There are different terms that um actually let me stop that because I'm going because I'm going to um forget what I was about to say, but I'm going to get back into that, but I want to go ahead and say this. Thank you everyone again, because I want to make sure I get this out. Thank you everybody who supported us. Um, no problem, Robin. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just that I knew I was going to get into a preacher mode if I uh started going deeper into it. But no, um, thank you everyone for supporting us last month for our first Black Music Month project. You know, um, it's the first time that we did it, that I've did it, and you know, I did the two Black music shorts each week, but I also did our annual Juneteenth week project too last month. So I did both. So I had to take a pause on the week of Juneteenth and then continue it after Juneteenth ended. So that was a lot. I think I had posted over 20 videos, short videos that month, last month. So that was quite the undertaking, but I'm glad. But, you know, that's part of the reason why this live stream exists, is because of how well we did last month, led to us getting past 100,000 subscribers faster and easier. In particular, our longest or highest viewed video has over 11,000 views. So I'm grateful for you all, and I'm grateful for God for helping us to achieve that. So I wanted to make sure I said that because Divya Gupta. Okay. Hello. Thank you for coming, Divya Gupta. Hope I pronounced that correctly. But no, that is something that I knew that it was going to be pretty difficult to plan, and because we still had other things to do that month too, but it turned out amazingly well. So I'm happy about that. I am well, Divya. How are you doing? But the best thing about it is that, like I said afterwards, when I in the thank you post I usually do for all of our projects, I told everybody that it's going to be bigger and better next year. The main point of it is going to be that we're going to do even more Black Music Month shorts each week. I think at least 3 instead of just 2 for next year. So I hope everyone is looking forward to that, because we're going to even do some more experimentation as well concerning that too. So I hope everyone enjoys that, because I am going to enjoy making it like I usually do. But for Juneteenth week, which I want to make sure I bring up, that one turned out well too. I think the highest viewed video on our YouTube channel came specifically during Juneteenth week. Which, the funny thing about it is that I didn't think that it would get as many views as it wound up doing. But now that after it wound up getting those views, I see it because, you know, whenever you do something about any type of Black figure, but especially one that it seems like people are trying to, oh, thank you, Robin, for the hearts. I appreciate that. But whenever you have a Black figure who is trying to, or who the people, I'm sorry, are trying to kind of hide what they've done, which is Mr. Oral Lord, who, for those who don't know or forget, Mr. Oral Lord was the first Black man. Mr. Oral Lord was the. Oop, sorry about that. Was the first Black man to have played. Oop, sorry about that. Was the first. Okay, what's going on? Okay, I apologize. I apologize, everyone. But he was the first Black man who played in the NBA. um, and it's almost like he's been erased. It's almost like he's been erased. And I know, Robin, I know the basketball topics. You know, you're probably interested in because you know your history with basketball, but it's almost like he was erased from like almost nobody talks about him. You don't hear him when people bring up LeBron, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, um, Kobe Bryant, Stephen Curry. Like his name is barely brought up. And a lot of the comments, especially on YouTube and TikTok, which again, TikTok is our second highest performing platform, or really this year our first, but I'll get to that later. But yeah, like he's not brought up at all. So when I was doing research concerning him and when I made the short, I was like, I was thinking that because he's not really known and that his name has been pushed down, that I thought that it was not going to do well. But on YouTube, it did exceedingly well, over 11,000 views, and so many comments across all the platforms were that people either didn't know that he existed, or that people just didn't know, um, that it was that big of a deal. But yes, it just seemed like his name was being, let's say, stripped down from history by just not speaking about him. And that are the number one things that I love about what we do. Is that's why you don't see me doing a lot of projects concerning popular black figures. I try to do things on people who people don't really know because of things like that. Because there are entire generations of black sports fans, more particular basketball fans, but even more in particular NBA fans, who didn't even know that he existed. Which he deserves to have his name heralded through the halls concerning that sport, because he broke barriers. All of the issues he had to go through, like Jackie Robinson, Charlie Sifford, things of that nature. So I'm happy and thankful that everyone who watched that and who supported that video, made it our most successful video on YouTube, period. So I'm grateful for you all to have helped out with that on all of our platforms, but in particular YouTube, because I never would have thought they would have gotten to such a level in the first place. So the next thing, though, and I want to just get back into something that I brought up concerning the interviews, also as well concerning the interviews and why they usually don't get amazing views. I mean, most things we do don't do well, but in particular those, I don't ask drama questions. I don't have people on the show to expose anything. I don't do certain things like the culture vultures do. I wouldn't even have certain people on the show if there were certain things that they did or believed in or said that I didn't support or were proven. I wouldn't have those things. So because I do these things to teach and not to berate, they're never going to be as big as different disc jockeys and who does things like that. Like I'll never have someone, and I'm interviewing, let's say I have a professional bodybuilder on the show, right? And then I'm never going to ask them about the controversy of steroids. And that's something that I'm not going to do, especially for a black man or black woman to have to be in that industry. I'm never going to ask or bring, especially in that way. But a lot of people do. And the problem is that those negative topics, especially when it's concerning black people, black Americans, those negative topics get so much attention, right? The exposure videos get so much attention. But what doesn't get a tenth of the attention are things that people try to make to fix those issues. See, we can talk about the issues that we come across as many times as possible. We can do that. But just talking about something does nothing if you're not trying to actively change it. Part of what the Dogs Board was for is so that we can educate people, talk about things, talk about there are other people who came before us and are still alive now that have achieved things and did certain things. The nerd topics I talk about is because like people we are uh most of us are nerds for something people just don't admit it, but two, we are the biggest consumers on the planet. We are the biggest consumers on the planet of anything, especially when it comes to media. So, for black people, what I have always said for the past at least 10 years, we need to focus on making sure that all these industries, the Japanese animation, comic book, and video game industry, the American industries are the same, the European industries are the same, all of these different industries that black people do things with. We need to try to make money off of those things too, but also support those who own and create their own projects. Like I've told people for years, I don't care about black representation in mass media if it's at the cost of a black man or black woman not being able to get rich off of their work. I don't care about a DC character, a Naruto character, or any of these IPs that are owned by non-black people and who their kids and families are going to profit off of. If it's at the cost of a black man's creation or a black woman's creation not being able to do the same thing, you know, that it gets in it for people who it's kind of strange. It's like when it's something, and most of these characters I love anyway, but if it's something, oh hey, there's a Naruto story and Killer B and A is released, and oh hey, it's a Marvel story and let's say Black Panther and Storm is featured in it, but it's a non-black company who's benefiting from it. It's a non-black person who are going to feed their kids from it, off of the backs of black people. So what I say is that, well, why can't we push Bitterroot the same, right? Why can't we push so many of the other projects that I've reported on and made uh, report posts and shorts about, and even I had a review on the first chapter of Bitterroot, which is, like I said, a black owned and created series. Bitterroot won a Eisner Award, I think, for best new ongoing series. I may be incorrect about that because there was a few years of which I reported on it, but that was something that was like the equivalent of like Outkast winning a Grammy for best new artist, because the Eisner Awards are the Academy Awards of comic books. That's what they are. They're the Tonys, Emmys, Grammys, etc. of comic books. If you win an Eisner Award, that's the equivalent to that. So the fact that Bitterroot even got nominated, which it did get nominated more than once, I might add, is an amazing achievement. So no, I don't care about um I don't care about Canary from Hunter x Hunter, and I don't care about, let's say, Jon Stewart from DC, if it means characters like Icon or Ebon, which are created by black creators, don't get the attention that they deserve. But I'm finished on that. Did anyone have any questions or any comments before I continue? But again, I'm surprised a few people aren't here. But I know everyone's busy. This is a Saturday. This is the first time I've had one of these live streams on a weekend instead of a weeknight. So that's probably has something to do with it as well. But um, again, I thank everyone for coming. Um, I'm not going to hold everyone too long. Again, stay tuned for what we have planned. I'm planning on making a few, things like we usually do. But in particular, the next super big known project that we have coming out, um, especially for those who haven't heard the Discord meeting, is the horror month that we do. The October horror month project we usually do every year. Not usually, we always do every year. So that's the next very big one. Outside of my birthday uh, month, in September, but I'm gonna be doing some things for that too. So stay tuned for that. But the horror month is the next biggest thing that we have planned, and I'm going to do something special for that too. So for those who love that, because last year's theme was werewolves, and this one is going to be different. I'll just put it to you like that. But if that is all, thank you everyone. I highly appreciate everyone for coming. Um, you know what? I may even think about doing impromptu live streams in the future. Who knows? I, like I said, I never would have thought we ever would have reached 100,000 subscribers. I mean, sorry, 100. I keep saying that, but we will hopefully reach 100,000 subscribers soon. But I never would have thought we would have ever reached 100,000 views on YouTube, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for God, Yahshua, for allowing me to even reach the time to get to this point. But I'm grateful for you all too, that He let you all to give your time and energy to support me and to support the Dogs Board. And I know Derek, the hip hop historian, he feels the same way too. Which, if he's here, he did say anything in the chat, but um, I know he feels the same way too. But this live stream will be uploaded hopefully within a few minutes after the stream ends, so you can see the what's the term, the restream, the restream. Thank you everyone. I hope you all have a good rest of your afternoon. God bless. Doc signing out.